Hello and welcome to Sybil Wilkes Live. YoC Media is proud to present Check In and Check Up for Your Health in partnership with the American Heart Association. On this World Hypertension Day, we'll discuss this illness that plagues the Black community. About 55% of Black adults have high blood pressure, also known as hypertension. Black people also have disproportionately high rates of more severe hypertension, and it develops earlier in life. Historical and systemic factors play a major role in these statistics. Among them are adverse social determinants of health, including lack of access to health care, lack of access to healthy foods, and other societal issues. The prevalence of high blood pressure among Black people in the United States is among the highest in the world. In tonight's Check-In and Check-Up show, we'll discuss this chronic illness and what we can do to stay healthy. Tonight's panel includes Dr. Nishellle Hines and Dr. Bruce Walker of Black Nurses Rock, and talk show host and comedian Sherri. And now, here's Sybil.
I'm glad I wore a different color today. Hi, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Check In and Check Up for Your Health. Oh, there she is. This is our partnership with our friends at the American Heart Association with the purpose of observing high blood pressure awareness month. And this day, which is World Hypertension Awareness Day. And in actuality, this isn't just a day. It's a 365-day effort to get control over and maintain our good blood pressure, healthy blood pressure. And as you heard, 1 out of every 2 or 50% of all Americans have high blood pressure, and only 1 in 4 of us has control over it. And most of us don't even know that we have hypertension. They call it the silent killer for a reason. We are observing, and hopefully we will inform people and empower them today, as we like to do with the What You Need to Know newsletter and other efforts in our company. And as we are now getting her adjusted and situated, not too stressful for her, is my friend, my sister of the microphone, the comedian, the actress, host of the Full Circle music tour with music superstars Kim and Babyface, and the executive producer and host of the upcoming hit TV show, The Sherri Show. Hello, Sherri Shepherd. How are you?
Hey, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
God. How you doing, girl?
I'm great. I know that you have full and busy days, and just announcing all the things that you are a part of and still ongoing projects in your life. Want to thank you for the time that you're giving us today. I know how valuable your time is, and I value that as well as your friendship. And I thank you for being the friend that you are and the support that you are, but also recognizing that as a part of your busy day, a segment of that is maintaining your good health. And so I want to just ask you, do you have any experiences or challenges with hypertension, especially as we are paying observance to that today, but definitely in terms of how you are doing in maintaining your good health?
Girl, and first of all, I have to say, what's that song that says, Sybil, just call my name and I'll come running. This is why I don't sing, but you know what I'm saying. Anything you ever need, girl, I'm here. Hypertension. Let me tell you something about hypertension and Black folks. I went to the doctor last week just to get a checkup, and somebody in my family called, and you know how those calls from your family always start, girl, I don't know how I get, and can you just loan me something? I'll pay you. When I tell you, just as I was walking into the doctor's office and they took my blood pressure, it literally was like so high they should have put me in the hospital. They had to take my blood pressure 5 times, and it still didn't go down. The doctor was like, I don't even think I want to write this down because I'm gonna have to report you. It's just something. Stress.
Yes, stress is it.
Stress, and I don't care if you got a name, if my life is full of blessings right now, but certain things just trigger that stress level.
That's right.
Family calls, you're dealing with this, you're dealing with that, and it just goes boom. And it concerns me because I'm pretty much in really good health.
Yeah, I mean, you work out like a demon These days, I see you at 5 o'clock in the morning, with the things that you put on Instagram, with your workouts. You are a single mom. You got 60 million 11 jobs. And so, and here's the other thing, Sherri, you are traveling across the country, one end to the other, from the top to the bottom. And how you do all of this and maintain it, and without all of these triggers, these stresses, beyond your family calling, it's probably a modern miracle. But it isn't a testament to your good health, and the way you are maintaining that these days.
Yeah, it's just, but I think is at this time it's like being intentional about health. And I'm speaking to people who are my age. We're in that 50
Hmm.
plus category. I think when we were younger, we could afford to say, oh, I'll just wait, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
At this age, it really truly is important, taking care of your health, watching your blood pressure, eating right. Not, I never thought a doctor would tell me I can't use salt on my food,
Hmm.
but it is really, really serious. And so it's just really being intentional about what, at this point in my life, what am I eating? What do I want the quality of my life to be? About getting rest.
Yeah.
I used to go to bed at gosh 2 in the morning and get up and do the Tom Jordan morning show. And
Which
not
gave
getting,
you about an hour to sleep before you were
like,
out there
literally,
working.
Kim Whitley and I, we would go to the comedy clubs till 1 or 2 in the morning, and then we come straight to work. As we were falling asleep in between all of the songs.
Well, that's okay.
But we managed to, thank you for saving our job, Sybil. But now it's like really, really being intentional about getting rest,
Yeah.
drinking that water, cutting down on dairy, on the red meats, because it's a killer in our community. Hypertension and stress goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sherri, not only are you and I going to have the opportunity to talk about this Hypertension Awareness Day, which is national and international day, but joining us are two members of the organization, and I love the name of this organization. It is Black Nurses Rock. President
Oh,
and CEO, Dr. Bruce Walker, and the treasurer, Dr. Nishellle Hines. They are both doctors of nursing. And Dr. Bruce Walker is the president and committed to a lifetime of healthcare experience, and dedicated to your community as well as to your people. And as it says there, your primary commitment to the organization is to make yourself and your experience available to everyone in this innovative and exciting organization, and a good old man of Louisiana, may I add. So we thank you for that. And also, Dr. Nishellle Hines
Hi.
is the national treasurer and president of the Delaware chapter of Black Nurses Rock, Delaware, and also as employed as a process improved consultant and controlled substance coordinator, and holding a doctorate from Wilmington University, as I mentioned, in Delaware, and very passionate about caring for others. I don't think you guys, you professionals, could be doing what you do if you did not care for others. So we thank you for your work. Just as we are getting past National Nurses Week, thank you so much, and for all that you do and continue to do, and look forward to this conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let us just bring people up to speed. For those who are just joining us today, want to remind you that this is Check In and Check Up for Your Health, with my co-host, media maven Sherri Shepherd, and from Black Nurses Rock, Dr. Bruce Walker and Dr. Nishellle Hines. And let me ask you, the Louisiana native, Doctor of Nursing, Dr. Bruce Walker, what is Black Nurses Rock, and how did this organization come to be?
First, thank you for having us this afternoon on this such important day to our community. Here again, hypertension has run rapid throughout the minority community, and this type of focus being brought to it can only benefit what we have been trying to do at Black Nurses Rock for the last 7 years. Our organization was founded by a very dynamic young lady back in 2015. She saw a need in her community and communities across this country, that we needed a nursing organization that would represent boots on the ground. So that is what we're known as. We're known as the nursing organization for boots on the ground. We are going to go into those communities that suffer from the highest levels of healthcare disparities, and we're going to be the bridge that gives them new resources and new avenues to better address those healthcare deficiencies. So with that being said, we are blessed to have one of the largest minority Facebook groups on our secret Facebook page. We have over 200,000 African-American nurses, and that's their platform where they could come and share their personal experiences from job, employment issues, all the way to personal issues, and not have to worry about it being seen again on social media somewhere else. And then we also have our public page, which have over 90,000 members. And that's where we post all of our activities at. We're just been blessed to be involved with the American Heart Association since the inception. They've always appreciated our effort to give back to those minority communities. The American Heart Association has always emphasized making sure there's healthcare equality amongst all communities. So we've been a lifetime partner so far as our existence been with American Heart Association. And for us to take it from one of our good old homegirls, today is the Super Bowl for hypertension. So we're going to bring that type of awareness. You know, hundreds, millions and millions of people watch the Super Bowl. So we want millions and millions of people to get this message that we're sending out today. One of the most beautiful things that I think gives Black Nurses Rock its true foundation is that over the last 7 years, we've done over 150,000 hours of community service in those communities that we've identified that suffer from the highest level of healthcare disparity. And just to quantify those hours, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 16, 17 years. So we've been blessed to have over 23, we have presently 23 chapters strategically placed throughout this country, from New England down to South Florida, all the way over to Texas. And those nurses, and you know, just to speak a little bit more on the name.
Well, let me just while we have you at this particular moment, for people who want to be a part of Black Nurses Rock, if you got some rocking Black nurses out there who are just watching and may not be a part of your organization, how can they find you?
Go to blacknursesrock.net. You'll find a wonderful website there that will lead you through membership, answer any questions that you may have. And Miss Sybil, I really appreciate you allowing me to give that little cheap plug right there for the organization.
It's not cheap, sir. This is the cost and the value of that is saving lives. So whatever you need to do, that's why we're here.
Amen. Amen. And our overall goal is to have a chapter in each of the states. So if there are interested nurses out there, please go to that website and click a button that shows some interest, and someone from the foundation will expeditiously get back, because we understand that there's a great need out there for our chapters to be in certain communities. And we have such a wonderful platform, like, you know, our partners that's sponsoring us here today, the American Heart Association, who supplies us with a multitude of resources. Not just on
and they're great at that.
Yes,
that's right. That's right.
So
So let me ask you this, because we will continue the discussion about this and what you all do. But Sherri, just in terms of, as we bring Dr. Nishellle into this as well, we all have grown up with great Black nurses in our families, in our communities, and to have this kind of organization, Dr. Nishellle Hines, is very important, isn't it?
It is very important. You know, I grew up watching my great grandmother come home with that white dress and hat and white shoes and stockings on, you know, just from coming from work, taking care of people, and just hearing, you know, her excitement. And, you know, like my mother told me, she used to walk around with a nursing uniform on, you know, to get you the little, you know, the little kid toys and everything. But, you know, I didn't go right into it. I started a family and did it the other way. You know, I did a different way, went in the military, went in the reserve, and, you know, started a family, and then went back into nursing, but it's out there. The need for community service is out there. I've always taught my kids to always give back. And this organization gives us a chance to go out in the community and volunteer, because when we see people go out, it's usually with their jobs, and you usually they work under community service. But we get these young ladies and young men that come out and help us in the community. They're not getting paid to do any of it that we're doing, but they're still out there. Like Doctor said, we're boots on the ground. We do so many hours of community service. And even during COVID, we did a lot. But now we're, you got to live in COVID now. You have to live in it.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get back out there, and, chapters, we're getting more chapters back. So it's going to be a really good thing to get everybody out there, because hypertension, heart disease, that was our initiative from the start. So, and partnering with American Heart is just awesome.
And the fact that you're looking at 4 people on this screen right now, and 2 out of this 4 experience some sort of hypertension or high blood pressure challenge, according to the statistics. And one of us has control over that hypertension. I dare say Sherri Shepherd may not be the one with control if she keeps getting those phone calls from her family, but it is important that we talk about what is hypertension, what are you all doing about it in your community, in your organization groups, and on this as we observe World Hypertension Day. Who would like to take that, Dr. Nishellle or Dr. Bruce?
I can take it. So, from the beginning, like I said, hypertension, heart disease was, one of our biggest initiatives. And for each state does maybe a little different. For me, I partnered with the American Heart here. I also partnered with our Christiana Healthcare, which was our #1 trauma center. And they had a program which was called the Blood Pressure Ambassadors. And what that allowed us to do was to work under their umbrella and refer people who we've seen out in the community who we might have checked, refer them back to the resources that the hospital had for ones who had insurance. And then we also partnered with like a group, a place called Henrietta Johnson Medical Center, and that was for low income. So if you didn't have any insurance, we can refer and they would walk you through and get it. We had many people that we send to the hospital to get checked. And, it doesn't matter the age. The age doesn't mean a thing. My son was diagnosed at 16. 16, he was diagnosed and had a stroke at 34. So, it's near and dear to me. My grandmother, the nurse on her, like you said, the worry and all of that, she died of a stroke. So, hypertension is really something. It's always been near and dear to me. So we go out there, we do screenings, teach them how to use the blood pressure cup if they don't know how to use it. We show them the proper way to take it, and also how to keep a diary. You know what I mean? So keep a diary, because sometimes, it's just like Sherri, she had that incident on the telephone. She'd take a blood pressure 5 times. Sometimes that happened because we're under so much stress as a culture. We're under so much stress. So it's up and down. So we like to have them, take their blood pressure each day. We tell them, go into the Rite Aid, the Walgreens, the Walmart. They all have the little machine. You stick your arm in there, takes a second, and check your blood pressure and keep a check. And if you run out of these numbers, you really need to report that. And then you can take that list back to your doctor. And we follow up, because, they love to see us, because it's like, oh, you're a nurse. Oh, you got your doctorate. You're a doctor, so, and that gets them a lot of times to open up.
Right.
They may open up more to us because I look like you. I eat the same food you eat. I came from the neighborhood just like you. So we got to get them where they are in the neighborhood and show them how to live in their element, healthy.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
It's very interesting. And thank you so much, Dr. Hines. I think a lot of people walk around and we don't even realize that we have high blood pressure.
Yep.
For me, I work out 3 or 4 times a week. I'm eating right.
I would say 7 to 8 times a week.
a lot. But I did not realize how much stress contributes to high blood pressure. It's scary. When they took my blood pressure, and literally I had been to the gym that day, it literally was like 107/90, because I got family members that I have people in my family, Alzheimer's, dementia. You constantly taking care of all of these things and trying to be everything for everybody. You're saying
Yes.
scriptures, you know, and all of this other stuff. I had no idea. How do people know?
And you
that
don't.
they
That's
have
what,
hypertension?
You don't. That's why it's called the silent killer. And usually when you start having those symptoms, it's usually stroke. You're at that level. So, you know, that's why when we're out there and we see the young people, they're the ones, oh, I don't need my blood pressure check. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. At 16, like I said, my son was diagnosed at 16, the youngest in the family. Hypertension runs in my family, but everybody got it in their 30s. Nobody got it as a teenager.
Right.
You know, nobody got it as a teenager. He used to pass out like he was having seizures. We thought that he had epilepsy or something. Like we was like trying to figure out what it was, but it was always his blood pressure, spinal taps and everything, you know, and then 34, look, double it. He 34, just about, you know, he had a stroke. So we think we're invincible, especially our men. And you look at the numbers, just in
you
the
know
Black
what?
community.
Let's, Dr. Nishellle, let me say we're just going to carry this over into our next segment because, and I did want to bring you and Dr. Bruce as we talk about men and as we talk about our children, because you're talking 16-year-olds. So I got to breathe. Let's breathe, and then we will carry this over in our conversation, especially as we talk about our brothers and our children, and getting them in and being a part of a regular process of checking the blood pressure. So for those just joining us, so once again, we remind you that this is Check In and Check Up for Your Health in partnership with our friends at the American Heart Association, and we're here with my co-hosts, and yes, she is all around bad A woman, Sherri Shepherd, media maven, and I say bad A in a spiritual sense, Sherri. And from Black Nurses Rock, we have the president and the treasurer, Dr. Bruce Walker and Dr. Nishellle Hines. Before we start talking about the National Hypertension Control Initiative, and I really want you to talk about that, please, Dr. Bruce, would you address, and Dr. Nishellle too, address about finding and going to the places where our men are so that they can get the proper care?
That's when we go into the barbershops. That's where you got to catch them at. You know, they actually had a program, and American Heart has a program with that as well, to go into the barbershops. We got to get them where they are, where they live, and that's what we do at BNR. You know, we go in the communities and catch them where they are, show them how to take their blood pressure, and then we take the literature. American Heart Association has tons of literature that they give us, like Sherri said about the sodium. Everything we eat, you know, processed meats and different things that we shouldn't eat. You know, everybody like hot dogs and sausages. You should never eat nothing in a cocoon, as I call it. You know what I mean? You know, nothing in a cocoon. And, you know, we give those to our children. And that's why our children at a young age, you know, I wasn't a healthcare provider back then. I gave my kids hot dogs and all kind of stuff. And, you know, at 16, you know, this boys start, you know, headaches and, you know, and it could have been a stroke. It could have been something. We get them to the hospital, blood pressure 210 over 110 at 16. You know, that's stroke or death rates for, you know, somebody for his age. So our thing is to meet them where they are. And for men, it's the barbershops. Sometimes if you just go in the neighborhoods, if you do a little thing in the neighborhood and they see women. So a lot of times, you know, when they see the women, they want to come around anyway. So we joke with them and, you know, get them to say, oh, I don't need that, sis. Yes, you do. Come on. And then, you know, I tell everybody about my son. I was like, listen, 16. How old are you? Well, I'm 23. I said, well, come on, you know, just let us check. And believe it or not, we're sending people to, do you have a primary care? If you don't have a primary care, we have, you know, in the community, they got these community centers. You can go in for free if you don't have insurance. You know what I mean? Or you need to go to the hospital or monitor it. So we try to educate them, give them the literature, and pray that they take what we say and follow up on it.
Dr. Bruce, does this work with your masculine charm with the ladies too, as it does with Dr. Nishellle in the barbershops?
Actually, you know, I'm from down south, and we just try to leave them with something catchy, like, you know, 120 over 80, baby. That's where we're trying to be. 120 over 80, baby. So, and we jokingly laugh about that, but we've been able to leave that message in a lot of places because it has a catchy ring to it, and those are the numbers that we are trying to make people understand. So we use a little different approach over here when we go out. But
Mhm.
here again, like Dr. Hines say, you know, the most important thing that we try to do is go where the people are.
Right.
A lot of times, you know, the pink elephant in the room of healthcare is the correlation between accessibility and affordability.
Mm.
And a lot of times, if you can't afford healthcare, they don't make it that accessible. So we understand that, and that's what we work diligently to do, is to bridge that gap between accessibility and affordability to provide great equality of healthcare. Because if all of us not healthy, most of us going to be sick anyway.
That's right. Sherri, let me ask you this, because as a single mother, and I know how important your health is, and how you have really taken this as your personal initiative to be healthy and to be there for your son in whatever your health challenges are. But as Dr. Nishellle Hines talks about, I'm sorry, doctor, as she has talked about her son and as a 16-year-old, what about Jeffrey? Are you thinking about this in terms of blood pressure and things like that, as far as his health future is concerned?
I'm very embarrassed. I'm so glad I'm listening to Dr. Hines, because you kind of think teenagers and young kids are impervious to this. That, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when we were young, we didn't need to do no, we ate everything, and so it's nothing that I've never put Jeffrey in a blood pressure cuff. I'm going to now. I bought myself a blood pressure cuff, and I will be taking his blood pressure, because a lot of times, you know, these and also the stress from kids being cooped up during the quarantine.
Right.
You know, not having any socialization with other kids, and that depression that hit a lot of our kids. And so, you know, Jeffrey kind of he eats what we have in the house, which is pretty healthy. But Dr. Hines, I never thought that I needed to get my son's blood pressure taken. If he had a headache, I said, it's because you probably need water because it's hot out here in LA. But now, you know, I understand that that's something I need to get him checked out for. None of the doctors, they didn't say, you know, when I take Jeffrey, they don't do a blood pressure cuff. So I didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you make I mean, I'm sorry, you know, that your son as an example, but certainly this is a life-saving example, perhaps for countless other teenagers and people who are watching, and their parents who are watching today.
Yes, and my son is an athlete, played basketball, played football. You know, I cooked dinner every day for them, so he wasn't eating out. You know, we didn't do that. So, you know, it's just it runs in my family as well. So genetics, you know, you just that's destined to get it. Just like diabetes, you know, sometimes then you're just it's in the family, it's in the blood, or you know. But yeah, but I was really shocked with my son, and even you know my mom and everybody were like, you know, he has high blood pressure. You know, I think it was 3 times we rushed him to the hospital and
Oh,
these spinal taps because he would pass out like he was having a seizure. We was like,
Mm,
and it was during happy moments. It wasn't
mm.
like he was stressed out. He was so. My son is a big dude now. He like 6'2", 6'1", 300 some pounds, but you need to lose that too. You know, that contributed to that stroke. Let's talk
right.
about those other factors that help
Yeah,
with that with the
yeah.
heart disease. Okay. But yeah, but he was at that time in high school and stuff, he was a thin guy, 100 and something pounds. And you know, you wouldn't think so because he's eating. You know, I'm making sure that he eats right. He's getting his electrolytes because he's playing sports. So you try to do everything that you know, while he's out traveling, that he's getting the good meals and everything. And it was just like out of nowhere. He just like collapsed one day in a huddle. We won. And boom,
He fell out.
fell out.
Let's talk about Black Nurses Rock and the Hypertension Control Initiative. Talk about that, Dr. Hines.
Okay, so I do have to give a shout out to my secretary here in Delaware. Her and I and the rest of the national organization got together and wrote this grant up. And I thank her because she was the person who really initiated it when we heard about it. So it's going to help us to be able to go out into the rural areas that we in Delaware, we touch on the whole state because it's so small. But to touch on not just the inner cities, but to get the ones in the rural areas. We have a lot of farmers, Black farmers, who they don't come off their land because they feed off their land, and they're slowly dying off because of heart disease and stuff. So we're just going to like meet them where they are, try to go out to the churches because you can meet them in the church. So go to the church house, meet them, teach them. We're going to supply them with blood pressures, teach them how to use the blood pressures. Everybody,
so the blood pressure machines, the cuff and all of that. Okay.
Yes, we're going to train them on how to properly place it on the arm,
to get it, cuff it.
Yes. That's a big thing because you can put it on wrong, too tight, not too loose or whatever. So we're going to teach them how to properly place it, how to take the blood pressures, and also to keep track of their blood pressures. We actually have they're actually going to be a referral, just like we did here when I was with the other organization. They're going to have referral points. It's going to be a company that's going to be monitoring the blood pressures, and they're going to actually download into their phone. They're going to get an app because everybody has a phone. And when you take your blood pressure, you'll be able to just do it right then, take it right then, and then it'll follow up with them from the company. But we will also be checking in with them as well.
Dr. Bruce, and talking about that 120/80, baby, is that a part of the initiative too?
Yeah. Well, I just think hats off to the American Heart Association. We've been doing this for the last 7 years, and for the first time, we feel like they have rolled out an initiative that covered the complete gamut, where you could actually see measurable outcomes. So that is what gets us most excited, because a lot of times we're out at health fairs doing blood pressures and is having trouble to find an actual resource to refer those people to. Well, under this new healthcare initiative that the American Heart Association is rolling out, it not only comes with education, it comes with monitoring, it comes with follow-up, and it comes with even some gift cards every now and again for being obedient to the program. So I think American Heart Association has really, from an administrative perspective, really done the things necessary to give us the platform that we need to be in the community and get results like I think will be second to none.
Dr. Bruce, as Dr. Nishellle was talking about it, making that traveling across the state, and you in Louisiana, you have the cities as well as the country life. Are you able to do that as well in Louisiana?
Oh, definitely. We have a chapter. If
And
I'm
do you
here in
and do you go
Louisiana,
to the gumbo parlors?
well, I don't have to go to the gumbo parlor. My mama,
Come
God
on
bless
now.
her,
Come on now.
she cooked in the French Quarters for over 50 years. So she's changed some of the best restaurants menus. So I'm blessed to eat at home a lot of days when I go home. But we do have a chapter in New Orleans, and the concentration of hypertension in that African American populated city is probably greater than the 55% that we see in other places around the country. And we're just excited about some of the opportunities that this initiative is going to bring forward.
I alluded to this earlier, Dr. Nishellle, and that is the blood pressure dance, if you will, where you get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. And we have been a part of this, and I want to encourage people to also be a part of this. And you can get down with your blood pressure campaign, as we like to say. So please to self-monitor your blood pressure on a regular basis accurately, and the dance that has been inspired by this, and it's the 4 steps: get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share those numbers with your doctor. And it's very easy to do, but it's also kind of intimidating for people.
Yeah, you don't want that diagnosis, you don't want to take medication, but it's a part of life. And today, the way we're eating different than, when I was younger, we didn't have all these fast food and different things like they have now. So it's all this processed food that we have, this quick food that we have, a lot of people aren't really cooking at home. That's why we have these food banks and stuff to try to, get them to cook these foods at home. But our chapters, what we challenge our chapters to do is to go to their Department of Health and Social Services, find out where the areas are that where the greatest need is, and to attack those areas. So, like for me, like you say, the US percentage is like 41.1%. In Delaware, for Black people, is 42.1. It's this small state, so we know it's different. But then, not even just looking at that, we're such a small state that even our Caucasian brothers and sisters, there for the US average is 34.5, but for Delaware it's 38.8. They catching up.
Yeah.
They're catching up. So we go out there and we educate everybody we can get our hands on.
So Sherri Shepherd, if you can slip on a pair of skates, you can also do our dance here, and encourage people to head over to heart.org/HBP control for the blood pressure resources, including the step-by-step instruction videos to help you self-monitor your blood pressure, and to find a community health center in your neighborhood. And I love the fact that Sherri is so active and just out there, like I said, slipping on roller skates and doing all these other things to stay healthy. But it is also important that we to avoid some of those phone calls that causes stress. All right, so let's take another breath, because that's all a part of this. And to as we go into our final segment and close out this episode of Check In and Check Up for Your Health on World Hypertension Awareness Day. And so, Sherri, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to ask about?
We talked about some of the things that we take for granted that we eat, people we don't cook as much, which I've been really trying to do for my son. Because he's even made comments to me, like when I'm on the run, why are you eating that? That's not good.
Oh.
And so trying to cook, but at this age, how important is exercise? Because I feel like it's definitely counteracting the high blood pressure when I go and exercise. So I think a lot of people think, oh, I can just, I'm just moving around the house. If you could speak to that.
And the importance of exercise as a part of our fight against high blood pressure.
Absolutely.
Dr. Bruce, Dr. Nishellle, which one would you like to tackle that?
So we have this belief that 30 minutes a day will keep one pill away. So if you figure out how to exercise 30 minutes every day, we believe it'll keep one pill away. If you exercise for an hour a day, you could figure out how to keep 2 pills away. So, but it has to be cardio intense focus. Exercise is not moving around the house. Is not. I know, ladies, don't slap me. I know house cleaning is a task, but here again, that does not qualify as exercise. You really need to get out, get that heart rate up 10-15% more than it normally is. Get that brisk walk in every day. And ladies, this is for y'all. Don't y'all forget that the signs for stroke and elevated hypertension is a little different from what you hear constantly for men.
So give us that. Give us that, Dr. Bruce.
Oh, well, exactly. So a lot of times you hear the men, they'll complain of the inability to move one side, the blurred vision, the pain on one side, where for females, it just may be annoying, nagging pain consistently for a number of days. And y'all are so tough that y'all will not address that particular pain. So it's little things like that. It may be blurred vision. It may be little dots when you move too fast. All of those are typical signs that may differ a little from men that are more pronounced than women. So please understand, and the American Heart Association does have some information on their website about that. There are clear difference between warning signs of elevated blood pressures for men and women that leads to strokes. So that is one of the things that I want to make sure that I bring forward. You know, my job as the president is just to hold a light for these ladies. They actually the ones who do all the work.
Isn't that
So
always the way? What's up with that, Doc?
what, ain't ain't nothing changed. That's all I can say. Ain't nothing changed.
Ain't nothing
I'm
changed,
just
Shay.
blessed to be one of the men. Yeah, I'm just blessed to be one of the men that hold the light for these ladies. That you know, when you say black nurses rock, they rock because they've answered a clarion call to
Mm,
look past their own immediate needs and address the needs of their communities, and that's why they rock more than any other reason.
mhm,
So yeah, we're excited. We love our communities. Most of us come from those communities where we are actually, and a lot of times people say giving back,
mhm,
but some of us come from communities so devastated that they never gave us nothing. So a
mm.
lot of times we're bringing back to our community. So hats off to every member that's associated with this wonderful foundation. Hats off to all of our national partners, especially the American Heart Association, for sharing this platform on such an important day when we understand and have understood from the beginning that BNR what role hypertension play in the quality of care for minority people.
Is it always 120/90? Is that what we're always aiming for, Dr.
Oh,
Nichelle?
see,
Or
you
One,
missed it.
you
It's
missed it. Yeah,
120 over
over
80,
80.
120
baby.
over
120
120
over
over
80.
80,
80.
I don't know why
baby.
I heard 90. Okay. Okay. So it's
120 over
Yeah.
120 over
80.
80.
Oh, no, that's because Miss Shepherd blood pressure was
No,
170 over 90
that was
when she
okay.
went to
Yeah,
the
that was
doctor.
it.
It's
Yeah.
just the nurse in us to pay attention to those type of numbers
You
when
need
they
to,
come out.
and
So
we need to too.
We
We
that's
do.
where
need to
you
know
got
this
the
stuff.
90 from.
I
Yeah.
put that
Yeah,
on my
so
Bumble
whenever, but
profile, doctor. Maybe that's why nobody's been calling me. I'm changing. 120 over 80, baby.
And
That's
it used to be
yeah,
different. It didn't used to be that low. At one time, it was like 130 over, what was it, 130 over 80 or 130 over
yes.
90 before. But now, normal is less than 120, less than 80.
mm.
So they want you to be less than those numbers.
Don't they
And they
always
call
want
it,
us to be less
yes,
than?
and they call it elevated now, 120 to 129, 80 to 90. When, I mean, still less than 80. They still want that diastolic, that
Mhm.
bottom number, the heart at rest, still to be at less than 80. But
Right.
Can
just
you
a solid,
explain what is the top number? What is the bottom number?
the bottom number is your heart at rest. And then the top number, so it's like lub that lub thing.
Okay. Okay, got
So
it.
the top number is our heart
It's
at
active.
rest,
Mhm. The
and
bottom is at rest.
oh, the
The
bottom is
top
okay.
top is moving.
The
The
lower
Hmm.
bottom,
number.
the lower number is at rest.
At
Okay.
rest. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So as we close out, is there anything that we have not that you came on with the specific purpose to share with people? I think you've given us a great deal to work with and to start with. But is there anything you want to leave people with? And we'll start with you, Dr. Nichelle.
Yes, I want to just tell everybody, our diet is everything. And I see in the chat, I see a lot about the salt. The salt is killing us. The alcohol is killing us. We need
All
to
the good stuff.
all the
All the good stuff.
all the good stuff. And and I just want people to know as well. And I just want to put this out there. I have one of my best friends who, and I told her, I said, I'm gonna tell you a story. We go on vacation and I get called by her husband. Her nose is bleeding. Right? I'm like,
Mm.
Mm.
your nose is bleeding. I'm like, blood is everywhere. I'm like, what's going on here? Were you on any hypertensive meds or anything? And she was like, yeah. She pulls out a bag. I'm like,
Wow. A bag.
yeah. And then she says, oh, I didn't take none because we was going to be here drinking. I said, you know what? I'm going to kill you because we're going to put you on that plane. You ain't going to have to die here in Jamaica. I'm going to kill you. And I mean, from that point on, her story has been, she's been on dialysis
Mm.
due to her blood pressure. So I want everybody to know diabetes is not a reason to go on dialysis. It's stuff that's killing your kidneys. Okay. And you got to know about your hypertension, your blood pressure. affects your kidneys
and how this all works
and
together.
how that all works together. And people, and that's why we say those comorbidities, that the obesity, the diabetes, the hypertension, we got to know that all of these things go together and they mess on our liver and our kidneys. And just because, you don't have to be a diabetic to go on dialysis for your kidneys, and every day, I mean, it was a struggle. Her body changing, and it's a big change to you being active going, and now we can't be active because you got to do these 3 days of dialysis. Then she went with trying to level out the calcium, the phosphorus, trying to level that out and getting all. I mean, she just went through the gamut with it. She's better now. But, it was just, and I always say, I want to let people know that you don't just go on dialysis because of diabetes. And I think that's where we come in at, is with our education out in the community on hypertension, on diabetes, you know what I mean, on obesity, on how to eat. Like, I have a nutritionist in my chapter. So how to eat, teaching people how to eat right. You know what I mean? But we got all of this around us. And sure, like you say, in the community, we got all these fast things for us. Growing, I'm like over 50, getting close to the 60 side. But back then we didn't have all these corner stores where you can run in and get all of these fast food and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's the way that we're eating. We're fast eaters because we're always on the go.
Yeah.
Like Sherri got 50 jobs, I got 50 jobs too.
Okay. Dr. Bruce, as we leave out, what's that one thing you want to leave with people before we ask a lighthearted question?
It's not, I believe, we've been taught to eat the wrong way. I don't think you need 3 meals a day to get through a day. I think breakfast was the invented meal so we could stop subsidizing farming so much. So I think we really need to get a better understanding, and that's one of the things that Black Nurses Rock has focused on from the beginning, is actual nutritional education. I just believe that it's not so much what you eat as when you eat it. You can't be eating after 8 o'clock at night, and you probably shouldn't be eating before 10 and 11 o'clock in the day. And I think if you can manage to figure out your diet between those times, I think you'll get a greater result. Working out is fine, and that's a big part of it, but also what we consume and when we consume it. Because the way we've been taught to eat, and you got to remember who taught us to eat as well. They don't have a good history of really advocating for the well-being for us overall. So you have to look at who taught you to eat, and all behavior is learned. So you
That's
learned how to eat from somewhere. So maybe we need to go back and reevaluate where we learned how to eat at, because I believe early in the morning back home, we was down at the Serengeti trying to make sure we had lunch or dinner. So not so much focused on breakfast. So I think that's one of the things that we have to do, and exercise and eat at reasonable, I know you rich, Miss Sherri, and stuff like that, and the steakhouse open at 10 o'clock, but you got to be like, you know what? I'm just going to have the salad at 10 and I'm going to catch the steak at 12 noon tomorrow. And I think that'll make a big difference in what we're trying to accomplish here with hypertension.
Let me close out by I just want to maybe just a one-word answer or something quick, but how do you each relieve your stresses? Or what's your stress reliever? All right, Dr. Bruce, go ahead, Dr. Bruce.
We second line down here, baby.
That is the way to do it. Dr. Nishellle, what about you?
Shop.
You shop till you drop.
Shop till I drop.
Okay, all right. And Sherri Shepherd, as a young single woman out there in the world, how do you relieve your stress?
Look, Dr. Shopping is how I'm stressed out. Ordering too much off the internet. Off this oh my God. Really, for me, Sybil, to calm my mind down, I love to roller skate, because as that wind hits my face as I'm roller skating, it just calms me down. And I like to walk. I walk 3 miles like 2 or 3 times a week with my dog.
With
I
your
used to
your huge dog.
with my huge, I used to take my son, but he complained so much. Why we got to go this far? How when we going home? And that stressed me out. So I go by myself and I just walk because it just literally clears my mind when I walk or roller skate.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We do want to close out with our Yogi's Jewel. That is our daily inspiration, and we also want to thank folks. But before we do the thank yous, gently encourage the health of others. With a little help, we will all get there and get through this together.
That's right.
And that's what we found here in our partnership with the American Heart Association, having conversations like this with my girlfriend, Sherri Shepherd, and the docs, Dr. Nishellle Hines and Dr. Bruce Walker, and all of the great folks at the American Heart Association, Tressa and Arica, and thank you so much for all of the support that we get. And of course, on our team, we have Sherri White and Chika Dilly, as well as Yolanda Starks White. Thank you all so much. Don't forget, you have questions, and the Heart Association, American Heart Association, has the answers. Go to heart.org. You will get what you need, and we will be here to encourage you to keep your health, your good health, and stay with us as long as you possibly can. Thank you all so very much. Go out there and be well.